Hi everyone, it's Plastic EP here with Cathy, Carlson, and we have a very special guest today. We have Elaine Presley. How are you today, Elaine?
I'm lovely, thank you very much. I'm doing excellent. How
It's
are
a
you doing,
pleasure to
Presley?
have you on the show.
Thank you. Lovely to be on the show. Thank you.
We'll just ask you, Elaine, how have you been? How's things going?
This week was this week or so has been a little bit difficult because of the loss of Ben, and the actual fact has been horrifically um, devastating, and it's been very difficult to get through that actually, and to even think I could do a show like this or get on stage, because he should also be planning on doing things as well, which now he no longer has the opportunity. So doing this show, thanks to you and Cathy, helps me get back on air again and continuing, what we started into the future basically. But me and Ben, if you read about how Ben was and how I am in my reviews, you'll see that we were similar. And being so close, it's actually been very, 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 very shocking and very, very devastating. And I send love to my sister and my mom in these times, and to all of our family, and to also myself, because this did shock and change the way things are, in our family dramatically. And it's very, very, very sad. And I send love to Ben in heaven.
Totally understand. I'm speechless. I can't say anything. Everyone's
Yeah, well,
affected, so,
yeah.
I can't say any more than that. Other than that, may I ask you, Elaine, now with the pandemic and what's going on now in the world, I know everything's on hold and so forth, but what do you hope now to do, or have you got something lined up in the future coming up? Like obviously you're singing, you're continuing with your career. What is it you'd like to do now in the near future?
I want to be singing, and I want to entertain the fans, and because that's where I'm most happy on stage, and also producing music as well, writing songs. I've written a few songs, and we also have Graceland Anthem, which is co-owned by me and my sister, Lisa Marie, and I have other songs as well. And I should be releasing those also, and doing movies. I have one movie now that's actually in production I did before the pandemic, and also I will be releasing my book in the very near future now, and hopefully designing more things for Graceland, for our future, and the continuation of our legacy into the future.
Could I just ask you a little bit more about the book, if I may, Elaine, if you could tell us a little bit more what that's
Yeah,
about and when you think it's going to come out?
yeah. The book is Kid of the King, and it's an autobiography of my life, all the way from when I was a baby, basically, and all the way growing up until this present day, literally from about a month ago. Then it tells you everything about my life. It gives you all sorts of things in there of how I lived my life when I was a child, and how I was raised, and who I was raised with. Then in coming home, all the things I did along the way, coming home to Graceland, about DNA, investigations, all that sort of thing. People like to read about, and things I have done and going to be doing in the future, and my plans and things like that.
Sure. I was just going to say you were raised in the UK, that's correct?
Yes, I was actually raised in Coventry, Colchester, Essex. And one of the biggest questions was, why was I raised in Coventry, Colchester, Essex? Well, the good news for DNA is I have a cousin that is related to the Smiths, and that made me realize my mother that I had in England is a cousin, not my mother, related to the Smiths and the Wright family. And she told me, because we didn't know we both existed, she said, Elaine, I didn't know you existed. I said, I didn't know you existed. She goes, we're half American. I said, you're half American? Tell me about that. And she said, yeah, we married into the Hynard family, married into the Smith family, and also the Huffman family and the Wright family out into America. And then my grandmother, she was born in Clacton-on-Sea Hospital. And I said, wow, and from America. they sent her back from America to be born in that hospital, in the Army hospital in Essex. I was like, wow, I was born in that hospital too. That connected her to my other cousins in England. That connected to the Hoods and the Smiths, all the way over to America. It connected my entire family tree. And then, you know, running my, because I ran my DNA then, all the different companies, plus I had the federal government, well, I didn't have them, they did it. They ran DNA and all sorts of tests on me, things like that. And then recently I just got baptized in my true family. And so that's also in the official records now too, which I'm very proud of.
When did you realize that, let's say, you wanted to take on a singing career? And I believe you've had a lot of fantastic people help you on the way with your career, such as coaching and things like that. If you can tell me a bit about that.
Yes, I've had advice from Reba McEntire, the masterclass, and other famous stars too. Also, I have confidants that guide me in my career and home at Graceland. And also have a vocal coach too, that is one of the world leading vocal coaches, to get my voice to where I need it to be, you know, my natural voice. I didn't have much opportunity when I was a child to take lessons and things, wasn't allowed to sing. And then, so now I'm getting the opportunity now. So yeah, I'm very excited about all the people I've worked with, you know, top people too, like Leonard Skinner's band. They backed me on stage in Asheville, North Carolina on a sold out show. I've done the Reba McEntire, the River Franklin tribute, which I did the candlelight vigil for that in Chicago, Illinois. That was also a sold out show. And I've done different things on stage too, won different awards and things like that as well. So it's been very exciting.
Having the Presley name and being out there in the public, it's what can you say? It's part of the genes, isn't it, to be able to perform?
Yes. Now you would think, you know, here's the thing I will say to you. You know, when I first came home, I came home in 2013. I realized who I was in 2013. And in England, I was Elaine before I came home in 2011, 2012, and I was doing really well. And when I found out who I was, I changed my name to Elaine Presley. And then you would think, wouldn't you, that you could just start your career and you could just sing and you could just represent your family and the world and everything would be fine. It's what you think in a non-hateful world and in a lovely world. But unfortunately, that wasn't what happened. When I came home and I told people who I was and everything, and I was just out there doing my best and doing my good things and stuff like that, you know, the world, it came down on top of me. So being a Presley, you have a lot of pressure. So it took me probably 4 years to 4.5, 5 years to get used to having my name and being me, even though it's natural for me to be home at Graceland. Whenever I went home to Graceland and whenever I do anything, it's very, very natural for me. What wasn't natural was the intense pressure that comes down upon your head because of who you are. So you have to be able to be just you, very grounded, and go out there and do your job without allowing that pressure to get to you. And then, of course, it comes into the thing where you have to be ready for everything at any time, where people admire you, they like you, they love you, that sort of thing. And so, and you make a difference in their life just by saying hello to them and things like that. So you have to learn all those things. So now after just over 7 years now, I've really got the hang of that, of course. And I was really doing well. And I got the hang of being myself and dealing with the pressure and dealing with the, you know, the fans and dealing with the love and the hate and everything. And going on stage was it's truly beautiful to go and sing for people. And then, of course, our family was hit with Ben passing. And that was definitely totally devastating. So you had to relearn again what you're going to do and how you're going to move forward. And that's what we're working on, what I'm working on now. You know?
I understand.
Can you tell me a little bit about your mom, please?
Oh yes. Well, my first mother was Mildred Heinard. And the Heinards actually were originally the Wrights. They married into, the Heinards married into the Wrights and the Smiths. And that was the mum I fought with, my mother, and I loved her very, 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 very much. And of course, I was sent to a children's home when I was 13 years old. And then I didn't see her anymore. And then later on, she unfortunately died, similar way to my dad did, really. And so that was very sad and very, 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 very bad. And then, of course, when I came home in May 6, 2013, I knew my dad was my dad. I was certain of that. And in 2017, I proved that. Then when I went to prove who my mum was, all the DNA company came back and said, your mum is Priscilla Presley. And I was like, whoa, you know? And it took me a while to understand and get used to that, because I actually, before I realized she was my mum, I was actually calling her my stepmom. And I didn't know really what I was doing. I actually took her roses in England from me and my dad when I very first came home. And even I was saying when I was walking away, why am I doing this? You know, I know Dad loves us, that's the reason why I'm doing it, but why have I got such an attachment to her? And so, you know, when I ran my DNA and the DNA company said, you know, Priscilla Presley, it's like she's your mother, you know? And then I realized, you know, I do also look like her too. And I was like, wow. So now I love her very, very much.
You mentioned your children. You have 2 daughters.
No, I actually have 1 daughter and 3 grandchildren. And so that's the wonderful thing about our family, is that it's not just me, you know, coming home to Graceland and, you know, continuing our legacy. When I came home to Graceland, I want everybody to realize that it wasn't me coming home and going, oh, I'm, you know, Elvis Presley's child, and later on my mum's as well. I'm here to do this. Got a big head and all that stuff. It wasn't like that. I just was in love with my family. And before I came home, I was very lost, searching who I was. Even though I thought I knew who I was still searching for something. And so on May 6, 2013, I found that and felt instantly confident and instantly happy, and I knew exactly who I was. And so nothing was going to change that. And then, of course, when I entered into the world of doing things for our family, I had a lot of opposition of being, you know, me. So I was just naturally being me. When I went home to Graceland, to me, everything was just normal. Everything was just okay, and nothing was wrong. But of course, you have a lot of people who don't like you, and a lot of people who do like you, and you have to kind of deal with all that. So when I came home, it wasn't just about me coming home. It was about all of our family being home together. And again, that's why it's such a dramatic loss for, you know, for Ben being gone, because I used to send messages over, you know, to my sister for Ben and for Riley and for the twins, you know, to say how much I support everything that everybody's doing. And I loved everything they were doing. And I was really looking forward. And when I saw Ben at Graceland, I was really happy for him. And I was like, this is good, you know, good Ben. And when I saw him do things, and, you know, I was really excited about that. And I was waiting for things in the future for him to do, and I'm doing. So it's really easy to be out there doing your thing when, you know, everybody else is doing their thing too. And so it's not just about you being home, it's about your whole family doing things. So again, when we lost him, that was a big loss. And so yeah, so I have a daughter and 3 grandchildren, and my grandchildren do play the piano, and one of them sings, and they're quite cute. They're very cute. And my daughter is married, of course, as well, and she lives in Beverly Hills, not too far from my mother and my sister, just down the road, actual fact. And she got a degree in the music business, and also she has a show called Beverly Hills Social, and she's been a model too. She's worked for one of the directors my mother works for right now. My daughter works for as well. And also she's a part of the museum in there, one of the founding members of the museum in Beverly Hills.
Wonderful. You should be so proud.
Yeah, I'm very proud. I'm very proud of all of our family. I'm proud of my daughter, my grandchildren. I'm proud of Riley for the movie she did. And I'm proud of the twins. They look so cute. And of course, we must protect those children, you know, in this pandemic, all of us, and also in the loss we just recently had. And also within our family, you know. So just like I protect my grandchildren as well. So, but they're all doing wonderful and lovely, and I'm proud of everybody. The funny thing is, you know, a lot of people say, you just came home to Graceland, so you're new. No, I'm not new. Because you have to realize the life I led wasn't the life I led within my adopted family. I was actually being the real me, and that's what was a mismatch. That was being what was lost. So a lot of the things growing up my father was doing, and I was looking at him when I came home, I was like, wow, Dad, I did all that, you know, wow, Dad, I wore those clothes, wow, Dad, I was like that. And my sister, a lot of the things she did at Graceland, I did the same things too. I could tell my sister now. I used to race down Braintree Hill in a go-kart, and I'm sure she did the same thing at Graceland in those golf carts and things. So the way she was and everything, and we were all very similar. So it's not like I've been home only since 2013. It's like clicked in like I've been home all my life, you know. So yeah, I had a purple room and things like that, and I noticed a room in Graceland. So I took ownership of this was funny actually. Give my sister up a little bit. She's obviously going through an extensively hard time, and I give you so much love, Lisa, you know. And I liked the purple room my grandma had in Graceland. And I was like, wow, that's my room. So my sister one time, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago, maybe a bit more, and she actually was in all over the bed, all over the floor, kids are everywhere. I'm like, okay, you're claiming that room, aren't you? You know, can't we share it sort of thing. So yeah, so it's been funny things like that too along the way. But there's also been wonderful things because there's so many similarities. In fact, I do believe that when I first came home, people were looking at pictures of me and my father and trying to analyze everything about me literally, and they always came back with like, wow, she is just like a dad, that sort of thing, you know.
Now you sing like your father.
Yeah, let me explain that to you. I do sing and I do sound like my dad. And but when I came home, my vocal coaches were saying to me, you need to sing and be you, exactly you, not like your dad, you know, don't be like your dad. So I said, okay, you just go then. So for all this time I've had my vocal lessons and everything, yes, I've got more of my natural voice, you know, that is supposed to be, but it's still similar to my dad's, you know, no matter what I do, still similar. It's just a lot more naturally me. Because I guess when, you know, I didn't ever copy my father, you know, when I was growing up singing and stuff like that, trying to sing when I was growing up, I didn't copy him, but I guess naturally I kind of sang the same, you know, and when I heard a song, I guess I kind of naturally caught on to what he was doing. But it really wasn't. Now I've learned how to sing correctly and do things properly. I still sound like my dad, but now it sounds on pitch and everything, which is good. And so it's still there. You know, you'll notice when my dad sings something or my dad like I sang a song the other day, I Love Me Tender. And when I first started off, I was like, love me tender, love me sweet, like that, you know. And I was like, oh, that was too rough in the beginning. So I just listened to Dad and how he did it exactly the same way. I thought, oh, that's okay, then I'll just leave it like that. You know, because that's just natural the way we do things. So, you know, so I am proud that I do, you know, I am similar to my father, but also I'm an individual as well. So I'm out there being me, completely me. So when you see me on stage being like my dad or my mum, it's not acting, it's actually real, you know.
I just want to say about Graceland, if I can, it's the most visited place apart from the White House in the US.
Yes.
So the amount of people that go through there is just amazing.
Yes, a lot of I'm glad you talked about Graceland because I send a lot of my fans to Graceland. Thousands of my fans go to Graceland. I've actually helped Graceland design certain things. I've sent over ideas and they're now being used today. Lots of things I've done. Lots of people don't realize lots of things I actually do and have done for Graceland. Don't always get the credit sometimes. Be nice if I did in the future. That's why I'm learning to be more of a business lady and making sure my things are really out there in the public so people know that I help design them too. You know, not that I have any animosity towards that, I don't, but you just learn certain things when you come home. And yeah, the great thing about me being home, which I'm very proud of, is that we have a future to live up to. And I've already redesigned how things can be for Graceland in the future and how we can bring many more fans home. My fan base is actually very young. My fan base is, you know, all the way from like 7 years old up to 35, you know, where some of the fan bases that we have now are actually older. So a lot of my fans going home to Graceland are younger and also medium age, which I'm really proud of that. And of course, my dad's fan base is getting older, so we're having to change the way we do things at Graceland to allow those fans to come in bigger droves. And I do believe the whole team, including myself, has the solutions for that. But I will be sharing my solutions when I can have my credit for that.
Now, when is the new book coming out, may I ask you, Elaine?
So I think the book's probably most likely going to be out the end of this year or next year sometime because of the pandemic and because I have to do all, and because of Ben, the respect to my family and my sister and everybody. And I have to, you know, I have to make sure I can do book signings too, That's very profitable for me, book signings, because a lot of my money that I make actually goes into our charities and foundations. That's one of my big part of my work. So that's important that the book does well. And the book signings are very important because lots of fans want to come there and see me and get a copy of that book signed and things, you know. So you can't be doing that in the middle of the pandemic. So between that and then, that's why it's delayed more.
I've got to also say now with the pandemic, I just did an interview with someone who wrote a book about John Lennon. And I mean, he's got the same problem too. And then I have another friend, what he does is it's very difficult to send the books out from where he is. People purchase the book, and then what he does is he has a card, and he gets them to send a special card on the actual book. If you're posting that book out, let's say to Australia, it's horrendous now what they charge the postage.
The publisher I was going to have, because of course before the pandemic, it's not there right now for me. Maybe in the future, but we've got some other options as well for the publicity of the book, because lots of people want a copy of my book, which I'm very proud of, and it will help a lot of people too, because of my life I lived, you know, from growing up to coming home to Graceland and having to deal with growing up and surviving, and then also surviving coming home to a big giant legacy like this, you know. Now I'm really cool. Now I've got the hang of it.
I'm being totally honest with you, Elaine. It's only until Cathy told me about you that I learnt actually about you.
Well, the reason that is, okay, I've actually done a lot of things, but how can I say this? We have a lot of people who love me, and we have some people who don't, you know, for whatever reason. And so for the first few years of me doing anything, no matter what it was, you won't hear much about it unless this is on the internet, because it was all hidden. But the people who were there know what happened, you see. But only just now are people allowing me to be out there and do more. But until I guess that book comes out and I get some more major publicity, you know, I'll still be kind of, some people know me, some people don't. So it's kind of funny, you know, like I said, you come home to a legacy, there's a lot of things. You can't just be a singer and a part of a famous family and just be allowed to do what you want. You have to go through a process. You know, I have confidence and I have training, all this stuff in order to be able to do what I want. And hopefully in the future, I'll be able to do a lot more and represent my family in a much bigger way.
It's an amazing interview, and for you to come out and say what you said today, I just want to say on behalf of myself and Cathy, thank you for coming on. If there's anything else you want to say to the fans, please do. If you can mention your links, where you are, so people now can look you up, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, basically, you know, for everybody going through the pandemic, it's also very tragic and devastating. And so I do everything I can to support people. And of course, with our foundation, we donate a lot of things in our foundation as well to people. And we are really there supporting people, you know, into the future. And that's why I hope I'll be allowed to do lots more things in the future, because I know I make people happy, and I know I deliver good for Graceland and bring people home to Graceland. And I suggest, if I may say, the links would be, actual fact, ElaineElizabethPresley.com, which is my website, or Graceland.com if you would like to visit Graceland.
Just the name of the book, if you'd mention that one more time, Elaine, so people at least can be prepared and ready for it once it's released.
To the King. It's a story about my life. It's my autobiography of everything from when I was a child, all the things I survived, all the things I went through, all the way up until present time.
Thank you so much for being with us today. Thank you, Cathy, as well.
Thank you so much, and thank you, Plastic EP, and thank you, Cathy, as well, for helping me be on this show today as well, and for Plastic EP for accepting me to be on this show. I hope everything I've said today is motivational for people to continue their life and their dreams into the future, whatever those dreams may be, and no matter how difficult or hard they are, to stand by your family and by your goals and by your foundation and by your values, and to continue. And just as we do at Graceland, we fail.
Thank you, Elaine.